Hi there. This is
Hi.
Lisa coming at you. Hi. Today I've got another guest that I'm going to chat with. And this guest, you may know, she's not far away in France like my last one. She's close. She's in Curtis, Ontario. And she's a blogger, a decorator, an author, a mom. And let's say hello to Shannon. My guest today is Shannon Acheson. Hi, Shannon.
Hi. Thanks so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Well, you're welcome. I'm trying to interview a few bloggers, a few people I follow, just to let my people know who I like, because I think they might think that's interesting. You know, they come into my store and they like things that are here, and, you know, they talk to me and they chat with me. And so some of them are wondering, who do I like and who do I follow in this online decorating world? And so you are one of the people I follow. So I thought I'd ask you to come on and chat.
Well, thank you so much. I love that.
You're welcome. Yeah. So how did you get started in the first place with blogging and all this stuff? How did it come about?
So it's been 12 years, actually. My husband and I and our three, they were little kids at that point, were renovating this old rundown era, war era bungalow. And I had been home with the kids for a long time. We actually homeschooled the kids. So having just my husband's income was tricky. And I tried all kinds of things. At one point I sold, I think, Discovery toys and, life insurance and all these different things, just, and nothing quite, while I was okay at all of them, nothing quite felt right. Nothing fit, nothing suited our lifestyle, nothing sort of quite fit. So when we were doing these renovations, like extensive renovations on this old house, I started looking up online how to do things, because before that, we didn't have a lot of DIY experience. And so I found blogs like, Young House Love, like back in the day, this is 2010, I think, 2009, 2010. And I thought, oh, you know what? That's really cool that they can do these things, these designy, DIY, decorating things. And they're getting paid for it. And so it was always my intention to do it, to do the blogging thing from a business perspective. But it was also something that we loved. I mean, Dean is amazing at DIY. I don't use power tools, but he's great at DIY, and I do the decorating stuff and obviously organizing and all that other stuff. And so, yeah, we kind of stumbled into it. I don't know. It was a bit of a God thing, a bit of a stumbling into it. It was just a really neat way to start something new.
Wow. Well, that's neat. So you just started writing, made your own website?
Yeah, we had the biggest reno that we did at that house was a kitchen, like a full kitchen overhaul. And I had to document it because we had actually bought the house with this type of mortgage where you did the renovations, and then the mortgage company, you proved that you did it, and they gave you back some of the money that you had, sort of borrowed. And so I had all the pictures, like every single picture. And so once that was finished, then I started the blog after that, and sort of because I had all the before and afters and I had all of that. So I had some content built up, and just went from there. And I started it there, and I started a WordPress blog, and kind of went from there.
So how did you start getting followers? Like, did it come right away, or, what happened?
You know what? Social media was different then. Back then, we commented on other blogs to sort of let people know that we were out there, genuine interaction. But and social media, there wasn't all the weird algorithms and stuff that there are now. And so when you put something out there, Pinterest, Instagram wasn't even a thing then. I don't even know if Pinterest was there then, but Facebook, like, people saw what you put out. So it was a little bit easier from that perspective. You didn't quite have to play the game so much. And then word of mouth a little bit too. So kind of a combination of all the things, really.
Yeah. How did you deal with all the tech stuff? Because I haven't done anything in WordPress, but I hear that that's not fun.
You know what? So for me, my background is a little bit odd, a little bit varied. I mentioned I tried a whole bunch of different businesses and jobs and things. I actually went to 3 different colleges too. I started out just after high school, and I went to Seneca actually for computer programming. And while I was good at it, I hated it. It was too in the weeds and too, I don't know. not black and white in like right and wrong, but black and white, like there was no color to it. Like there was no creativity. But it really helped as far as understanding how computers worked and how WordPress worked when the time came. After that, I actually went to school for, I took a desktop publishing back then. So graphic design, and then an art, a year of art and design fundamentals. So sort of all that worked together. And then whatever I didn't get, there was a lot of plugins. I knew some people who could sort of, I have someone now who helps with that sort of thing. Like if it's too complicated, but like there's tutorials online. There's lots of, you can Google just about how to do anything. So I did a lot of just searching and trying to find how to do things. And then WordPress, I mean, there's so many themes and templates and plugins and things to make it do what you want. Now, granted, in the last couple of years, way better than it used to be, much more creative. You can do a lot more now. So yeah, so really I sort of fumbled my way through it a lot and Googled a lot of things for the tech side of things for a long time.
Yeah, thank God for Google, right?
Yeah, exactly, right? Yeah.
So did you end up getting a team of people who work with you and support you? Do you need that yet?
So during different seasons, I have had different, I don't want to say amounts of teams, but different numbers of people. I have used everything from bigger agencies to help with some social media stuff and photography to, smaller, like single, like I had a virtual assistant for a couple of different virtual assistants for a few years, until they were both, they moved on to other things. And so at the moment I have my web hosting, who is great. They're amazing for support. For that side of things. I have someone else actually. Her name is Gretchen Louise. Her last name's Acheson. We're not related. She lives in the States. So like, it must be like eons ago that we were even remotely related, but she looks after a lot of the sort of styling or some of the tech stuff that I can't dive into, or I'm afraid I'll mess up the site because it's just too much. So she's not an employee, but she's amazing. And she helps lots of bloggers with stuff like that. One of my daughters actually just started working for me this week. I'm going to get her doing some stuff. She's almost 18 and just wants to try the different things. So she's going to help with that. My other daughter last year had done some Pinterest stuff for me when she was between school and work. So I would like to have more help. I'm sort of in this, my last VA sort of left to do other things. And so I'm sort of on the hunt for another one. I've tried a couple of things. So yeah, it's at various times, to answer that question, at various times, yeah, different degrees of help for sure.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. Like I've got a couple of VAs. I can't handle everything myself. It's just too big for me. Yeah. So, and my son is 16 and he started working here on the weekends last week. Okay, there you go. Too. So
yeah.
We take our family, right?
Right. And of course, on the book writing side of things, I have lots of help with my publisher, but on the blog side, yeah, it is too big to do it by myself. And yeah.
So what about you and decorating and your style? Did you always love decorating, and did you want to go to school to be a decorator? How did all that happen?
I did actually. There was a few things I wanted to be when I grew up, when I was, late teens, early 20s. I actually wanted to be an architect or an interior designer. And when I was finishing up high school, one of my guidance counselors said, there's no jobs in that, pick something else. And so I took them at their word and chose other things, hence the other schooling that I did. And I didn't come back around, even though I always loved decorating and organizing and all of that. I didn't come back around I actually took a course later on, actually within the last 10 years, for decorating and design. And so, yeah, I always wanted to. We used to visit, model homes. I don't know if that's even still a thing right after COVID, but I used to do that with my mom when I was a kid and a teenager. My husband, Dean, and we did that for getting ideas, just to see what other people were like, other houses looked like and stuff like that. So yeah, design and decorating has always been something that I've loved for sure, even though it took a long time to come around to it.
Yeah. For me, it's similar too. Like I remember I was 12 years old, me and my best friend Billy, we were decorating my mom's kitchen and living room, and we were painting and putting up wallpaper, and we were obsessed with it then. And he went on to be a designer. He's in Toronto. He has his own firm, and he's like high-end designer.
Okay, cool.
When I finished high school, I was going to go to design school too. Well, I actually started, there was a place in Toronto called the International Academy of Merchandising and Design, and it was at Yonge and Wellesley. So I took a couple courses there, but someone I worked with, her sister was a designer in one of the big firms down on, I can't remember Toronto that much. It's where I think part of the Designers Walk is there now.
Right.
So anyways, she told me that if you get into any firm, all you're going to do is get coffee and do the drafts, and it'll take 10 years before you get to design anything. So, so I switched too. I switched to science and went on, and later in life took all the design courses, right? Just similar story.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
That's so awesome.
Yeah.
It's so encouraging, I think, for young people too, right? Or anybody who isn't sure what they want to do yet, that you can totally change and do something else and be good at it.
Yeah, it's true. And now with the internet, you don't have to go to any school. You can do everything online. You can do it from home. It's so easy now to be whatever you want to be. So
for sure. Absolutely.
I think COVID amplified that, right?
It really did. Yeah.
So no, but it's cool because there are so many possibilities out there, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And also you can go and look into something if you're interested, right? You don't have to commit to it anymore because you can take lots of free courses and just figure out, do I like this or do I not like this?
Yeah.
So
for sure.
That's a good thing that changed in the world.
It is. Yeah, that's true. You got to look at the good stuff, right? And that's definitely one of them for sure. Yeah.
So what about like decorating your home? So your blog is in your home, obviously. And so how does that affect your family? Because they've got their personal space and you're decorating everything and you're taking pictures of everything and posting them all over the world. So how does that affect your life and them, and how do they feel about it?
You know what, at this point they're used to it because it's been 12 years. So they were, so in 2010, they would have been like 10, 8, and 6 when I started. So, our blog was never about them. It was never, I mean, if you go way back, there may be the odd picture of them, but really it was about the house. And so, as far as they tell me, they love how they grew up. They love, now if we have to pop into Home Depot, they're like, I love the smell of Home Depot. It's so familiar. It's so like, because we'd be there every other weekend when we were doing like major, like this house, we've sort of settled in a little bit now, but back then we were there like every weekend, every other weekend. And so, and Lowe's and like all those places. And so, they love it. They love, they especially in the last year or two, they're like, we really like how we grew up. We love that, we didn't realize that not everybody grew up like this, they have their own spaces beyond, the initial, if like when we go somewhere or if like, when we move, because we've moved a few times, but doing their rooms, like I'll help them with that. But beyond that, it's their space and I don't really, it's their space. They know that, like it's their space. It's totally fine. And I don't force my design on them, especially now that they're older. And then as for the rest of the house, I mean, they're just used to it. It just is how we've done things, and that's just how they've grown up. So I don't know.
I think it might inspire them because you're very creative and you're probably changing things all the time, right? Normal people
for a long time.
People don't do that, right? I do that too. I'm changing this and changing that like constantly, and normal families in normal houses, they buy the couch and lamp and it's there for 20 years, right?
Exactly. And our middle one, actually, she just started school for art and design too. So nice. It's kind of funny. But they're used to it. That's how they grew up. I don't know. They don't know any other way, I guess, really.
So is their style the same as your style, or are they going in different ways? Are they going to like boho or minimalist or
they like different colors than I do for the most part.
Yeah.
I am like either neutrals or like really earthy colors, and they tend to gravitate a little brighter than I do. As far as style, I'm not sure they're 100% set in what their styles are yet. They're sort of, they've got other things on their mind more than that. I mean,
Yeah.
school and friends and work and all that stuff. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll be curious to see when they get their own places. They all still live at home. So
Yeah.
yeah. So
Well,
yeah,
how old are
they are now, the youngest is almost 18. The middle one is almost 20, like within the next couple of months, both of them.
Yeah.
And then our oldest is 22. So he just finished school and he's working in sports broadcasting now. So
Oh,
yeah,
cool.
but he's still at home. So they're all still here. So
Okay.
yeah.
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 So what about like your decorating style? What would you call your style? Do you have a style, or are you a mix of things, or what do you think? What do you think?
I think I'm a mix now. I was very firmly planted in farmhouse for a long time.
Yeah.
I think farmhouse has changed a little bit. I had a conversation with on Instagram with Bonnie Ryan of the Ryan House, and we because she used to be very much the same too, and we just said our style grew up a little bit. Like it's still, I guess it's still cozy, it's still farmhouse, it's still, but it's just grown up a little bit over
A
what
little
it was,
more,
if that makes
a little
sense.
more sophisticated.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, I think
yeah.
so. Yeah. So I haven't really, since the last couple of years have been spent, or the last year and a half has been spent writing a book on decluttering, organizing, I focus less on the decorating, even though all that content's still on the website and all
Yeah.
of that. I haven't named my style since it changed in the last couple of years. I haven't, so it is still farmhouse, I guess, but it is a little bit more grown up, a little bit more eclectic, a little more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sophisticated farmhouse.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
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 Wow. So yeah, you just said you talked about your books. So
Yeah.
I know you've written 2 books. So how did it come about, the first book? How did that all happen?
So I always wanted to write a book. I actually self-published a couple before I wrote the 2 traditionally published ones.
Yeah.
But that came, yeah, I just sort of felt like, so this was in 2019. I
Yeah.
felt like it was time to sort of to pursue that. And so I started asking a few people that I knew who had written books, a few bloggers I known, Corianne Wood of this Thistlewood Farm.
Oh, I know her.
Yeah.
I'm
So
talking tomorrow. I'm in her blogging group, and I'm
okay.
going to talk on her meeting tomorrow about
Okay, cool.
Pinterest
Yeah.
thing. Yeah.
So we met
so nice.
years ago at a blogging event down in the
Oh,
state. And I don't talk to her that often now, but I reached out and touched base with her then, because she, at that point, she had published her first book. And I said,
Yeah.
okay, really, like, do I need an agent? Do I like go to a publisher directly, whatever? And she suggested going and looking at books in the genre I wanted to write in, and seeing the acknowledgements or any of that if they thanked an agent. And she said, I highly recommend getting an agent, a literary agent.
Mhm.
And see if they named any kind of thing. And so that was a roundabout way. We have the same literary agent company now. But that was a roundabout way of saying whose hers was. And anyway, so yeah, so I reached out to them, to an agency in the States, a Christian agency. They're amazing. I had a lovely lady named Ruth, and she actually moved on to the publisher side partway through my process. But she passed me off to Teresa, who is amazing. And I just like to think of it like they were each perfect for the specific part of the process I was in. It was just amazing. It was really, really awesome. And so, yeah, we worked on a proposal to shop out, and then a literary agent then will shop it out to their contacts at different publishers. Once you have a proposal, that's a good working proposal. And so that's how that happened. And I think by Christmas 2019, maybe it was 2018. It might have been 2018. And then I worked on it. It was 2018. Sorry. I feel like my parents trying to recall a story and I'm getting it wrong. Anyways, yeah. And so by Christmas that year, Bethany House had reached out and said, hey, we'd love to talk with you about this. We'd love to whatever. And so contracts and stuff in the early spring of 2019. And then I worked on it all that year, I think. Again, I could still have the timeline wrong. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Anyways, it was finished and submitted and ready to go. And of course, it was about ready to go out to ship overseas or to print overseas, and COVID hit.
Oh God.
It was very interesting.
Like, oh,
it was a bit of a different, it was a bit of a different process this time over last time, for the second book. It all worked great. The book did great. Of course, everyone was home, and so they were looking for books about.
Perfect.
It was actually really perfect timing. It was,
Yeah.
it was amazing. And then about 5 months after, so Homemade Lovely was the first book. Sort of
I want to know about how did you come about with that name?
That's the blog name. That's the blog name now. The blog didn't used to be called that. It used to be called AKA Design. And then several years ago, I just felt like that didn't fit anymore. And so we did a big rebrand, and there was a lot of back and forth with a lot of my friends, a lot of people who are smarter than me, a lot of people who are really talented. And we sort of just went back and forth, and Homemade Lovely was what we came up with for the blog. And so when we went to write the book proposal, it just made sense because Homemade Lovely, the book, sort of just touched on everything. It was a little bit of, a little bit of house blessing, a little bit of hospitality, a little bit of organizing, a little bit of decorating. And so it touched on all of it, making your home lovely. And so it just made sense to call it that. Yeah. And so, a few months after that one launched, it had done well enough that Bethany House actually came back to me. My acquisitions editor at Bethany House, Jennifer Dukesley, who's also an author, came back to me and said, have you thought about writing another book? And I was like, well, actually. And so we talked through a few ideas that I had and went with the one about decluttering and organizing called the Clutter Fix, which just came out this week. And so I worked on that over the last year and a half. So so it was a really, really neat process. It's very different than blogging and the online world. And I imagine very different than having a shop too. It's a world entirely into its own. And I felt very privileged to have a peek into that and to get to participate in that a little bit.
Yeah. That's so nice. And it's so nice that you were successful. Like
that is a bonus. Yes.
Yeah.
That's definitely a bonus. Yeah.
All that work paid off.
Yeah, exactly. For sure.
Yeah. Well, I've been thinking about doing a book. Like I've got a plan in my head. I know kind of what it's going to be, but I'm so busy with the store, online things and all that. So, but
it is a lot to juggle.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah. So, but
but it's good.
Cool.
Yeah. That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I highly recommend, if you're going to pursue it, to find an agent that is in the genre or works with people in the genre of what you want to write about, for sure.
Yeah. Okay.
So helpful. Crazy helpful.
Yeah. Well, that's and I can also talk to Karianne about that.
That's true. Yeah.
I'm going to interview her as well in the next couple of weeks.
Very cool. That's awesome. She's awesome.
Oh, I know. She's so amazing. Like she does so much stuff, and she's got so much energy. Like
she does. I know.
She's excited about everything. It's really nice.
It's mind-boggling, the energy that she contains in her little self.
And her house is so beautiful. Like I just
beautiful.
Adore that house, and it's the house that she grew up in. She bought it back after her parents had sold it. So that's kind of an amazing story.
That's really cool too. It's very cool.
Yeah. I think she lives in Texas, doesn't she?
I think she does now. I think it used to be Kentucky, I think, or Tennessee. One of those. I don't know. I'm terrible with the states. Anyway, but I think she's in Texas again now. Yeah.
It's so funny about her. So when I started this store, she was my inspiration. Like there was a picture of her house in my business plan.
Okay. That's awesome.
Yeah, she was so inspiring. And, when I started the store, first I was going to start a blog. That was my first idea. And so I was looking up, if I start a blog and I end up monetizing it, then I'm going to need to have a business account. And, how am I going to do that? I was, making a plan how I could do blogging. And I started looking up how to do things. And then I kept seeing these things about women entrepreneurs and starting your own business, and
Right.
there's government grants and this and that. And then that idea came in my head. Why don't I just start a store?
Right.
That's something I've dreamt of like my whole life. And so I just did it. So from having this idea, it was January 1st, 2018. I turned 50 like the week before.
Okay.
And it was that kind of moment in my life.
Yeah.
I got 15 years left to work. I don't really like what I'm doing. It's okay, but I want more happiness and joy and creativity in my life. So I was like, okay, I can start a blog. And then maybe in a year I'll be able to quit my job. Maybe I'll be able to make enough money that I don't have to work anymore. And but then it ended up being a store. So between January and May 1st, I got everything organized, and I got the keys to this place May 1st. Everything went like crazy. Like I drove by this building every day to go to work. I drove by this building for like 5 or 6 years. And every time I drove by, I looked at it and thought that would make a great store. Right. And so I get the plan that I'm going to start a store. So I Googled what is available in my area, and this building was available.
That's wild. Yeah.
So perfect.
That's amazing.
I came to see the building, but nobody was here. So I came back a couple hours later. We drove by. Oh, my phone is ringing.
That's okay.
It's okay. I'll leave it for now. I'm gonna stick it in the drawer.
Totally fair.
So I came to see it, and nobody was here. I came back, and there was a car parked in the driveway. So my husband said, maybe that's the owners. Go out and ask them. So I went and asked, and it was a lady, and she said, no, she's here to see the building because she wants to rent it.
Oh, and no.
She wanted to make a spa.
Okay.
And I was like, okay. I said, well, okay, do you mind if I just stay here till the owner comes? And I want to tell him that if you don't take the building, I'm interested. Is that okay with you? He said, yeah.
Oh,
So the owner came along, and I said that, and he said, well, you might as well see it while you're here, just in case. So that lady went in, and she was in for like 10 minutes. And then they came out, and then he said, come on in. So me and my son and my husband came in, and we were in for more than an hour.
Oh my gosh.
He liked it. He liked us, and he liked my plan. And we walked around, and I said, we could do this, we could do this, we could do that. So of course he let me rent the building and not her. So I kind of felt bad.
Wow.
And about a year later, I recognized her. She came in the store and did some shopping. I was like, oh, this is awkward. So I just pretended I didn't recognize her.
No. Wild. Wow.
Yeah.
That's
just
crazy.
1 second. I dropped something here.
No worries.
Okay. Oh yeah. How has blogging changed your life? I know it's been a long time, but what's the difference in your life before blogging and after blogging?
I can't even, so many ways. Like before blogging, I mean, we homeschooled our kids before and after, during all of it. So it allowed me to continue to stay home with them, even when I needed to make extra money. A lot of the other things that I had tried, I didn't like, because I could be home with them during the day, but then I had to be out in the evening or something. And then I would never see my husband, and we actually get along really well, and we like each other. And so we like spending time together. So I didn't like that about so many other things. And so blogging just has allowed me to, for me personally, tap into so many different things that I like. Obviously the design and decorating and organizing and stuff like that. I love business. I could talk to women entrepreneurs and business like all day long. I love that. It gets me very, very excited. And so, I love that I can do that. I love that I can talk to other bloggers, other women entrepreneurs and stuff. It has allowed us to do a lot of things and have a very much nicer house than we would have been able to have otherwise. Early on, we worked with a lot of sponsors. And so, that was great. I was talking to one of my daughters the other day. I said, I don't think we bought a single appliance in this house. It was all through blog work. And so, you know, it has allowed us to have a much nicer home, a much nicer, not life, but just like, I don't know how to describe it. But yeah, like we've been able to do more
your
things.
lifestyle is more free than other people.
It is, yeah. And again, yeah, I got to be home with my kids, like, which was really, really important to us when we had kids, and we really, really struggled for a few years to make that work. I mean, we did, but it was easier after we started blogging. Yeah, and it's just a creative outlet, and it's like another one of my kids. It's another baby. Like you know, there's all these bloggers talking about selling their blogs and, you know, and getting out and making money, and I'm just like, I make money, like I'm good with that, but I like what I do for the most. I mean, there's certain things and whatever, it's algorithms on social media. It's not the funnest now, but I like it. I love it. And so it has allowed for a big creative outlet, and for me to be paid for a big creative outlet. And of course, I mean, there's the book deals, which I wouldn't have gotten, like it would have been a lot harder to get them without the platform of the blog and social media already. You know, magazine features, like just all the things that are just fun. Like they're not necessary, they're just fun. So yeah, like I can't even, so many ways. It's changed my life, our life in so many ways, for sure.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So what about the house that you live in now? What's the story of how you found this house and moved in there, and what kind of things did you do to it? When, you know, did you change things?
Yep. So this is actually our fourth owned house. My husband and I, before we had kids, we moved around actually a fair amount, because like I said, I went to 3 different colleges after we got married. I was 20 when we got married. So we lived in several places in Toronto. We lived in Barrie. We lived sort of Pickering. Our first house we bought in Barrie. Dean was commuting. He has always worked the whole time, our entire marriage. He has worked in Scarborough. And so wherever we lived, he commuted. And so we had a little townhouse in Barrie. We needed to move back down because the drive was it was too much for him. It was too hard, too far. We went through many cars in a few years just because it was so brutal. So we bought the wee little house in Ajax, fixed it up, sold it, bought a backsplit in Oshawa, fixed it up, and we sold it when it just seemed like we were growing out of it. It was a 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom. We had added it had a really big family room. We had sort of split it to add another bedroom downstairs, but it's still only with 1 bathroom and no other roughed in. It was going to be a lot of work to add another one, and 3 rapidly growing children. I mean, the neighborhood was amazing there. The yard was great. I kind of wish we could plop this house there, but anyways, so when we went looking for another house, in order to, of course, you know, each of those moves was further out of the city a little bit. So it was Ajax, Oshawa, and now we're in Curtis, which is just that much further out of Toronto, out of the city to the east. And, you know, in order to afford a bigger place, you do have to move a little bit out if you're, you know, if not much else changes. And so we were looking for somewhere. Realistically, I just wanted, you know, I really wanted somehow to have 4 bedrooms so each of the kids could have their own space. The girls, they adore each other, and they have the best friendship, which would not do very well if they shared a room. They're very different personalities, but they get along great. So I really wanted 4 bedrooms, even if that meant, you know, one in the basement, like a proper one in the basement, and a second bathroom, because, you know, all those kids. So when we were looking, this was 2016. So it was before things went nuts. Really. We had a real estate agent. She was awesome. She's actually not even a real estate agent anymore, but she was great. She helped us look at houses, schedule the things. I actually found this one through an MLS listing, or a realtor.ca listing, I guess now. And we came to look at it. And oddly enough, it has 4 bedrooms. It has 4 bathrooms, which seems excessive. But when you get all of us in here, it's not actually that bad. It's a total luxury, total luxury, like not a necessity, total luxury. And in my heart of hearts, I actually really wanted a pool, and there's a pool in the backyard. And so it was just, you know, and the other big thing we were looking for was an open concept main floor kind of area, so that, so because before COVID, we hosted a lot. We had a lot of people over. We have large families, like extended families. And so we have had people over a lot. And so this house actually had the living rooms open to the kitchen, and then the dining rooms in the front, and it's all open as well. And so it was like this perfect, we had actually looked at a model home that was bigger than this one, but the layout is very, very similar. And so when we saw this one, I was like, oh my gosh. And it was like $200,000 less than the model one.
Wow.
So it was like, yes, this is the house. And so, yeah, that's how long story of how we ended up where we are now.
So did you make any major changes to the house?
We did. We renovated the kitchen. We extended it. It was sort of one of those old kitchens where there was a small island and then an eat-in kitchen part at the end by the patio doors at the back. Oh, yeah. And so we just extended the base cabinets across the back, and then made the island the whole length of the kitchen instead, and then put bar stools there instead of having the little eat-in thing, which wouldn't have fit us anyway. So
yeah.
We've done bathrooms. We built my office. Like the basement was finished, but we put up a wall. We've done a little bit of bathroom stuff. We still have floors to do. We still have the master bathroom to do.
It never ends, right?
No, it doesn't. It's always something. Eventually we'll have to do the fence outside. Like it's always something. So we've done a lot of things, and there's still a lot to do, if that makes sense. Yeah.
Do you think you would ever leave this house? Like, is this your dream house and you're going to stay? Is this your forever home, or would you move?
We never say never. Dean and I, this is the longest we've lived anywhere. Truthfully, we've been here almost 6 years. The record before that was about 5 and then down from there. So I'd never say never. I would love to. Right now we live in it's a suburbs kind of neighborhood. It's great. We love our neighbors. You go out to the end of the neighborhood and it's farm fields, then there's the 418 came through, and it's just, we would love to live either in a small town where you could walk to the downtown. We've talked about opening a store, truthfully, in a small town, or potentially out in the country with, the sort of facilities where we could host workshops and stuff like that, and retreats and stuff. So we never say never. I love this house. Love this house. It's perfect for us. It has been for the last 6 years, and in this current season where everyone's still living at home and all of that. But never say never. I don't know. We're always open to adventure and change as far as houses and stuff go. So I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Okay. So what would you say is your favorite room in your house?
That's tough. I love my office because I get to come here and close the doors every day. The only one, mostly the dog comes. He's sleeping on the corner over there. But I also really love our dining room, living room, and kitchen too. There's a lot of good memories of hosting, holidays and family and all of that stuff there. I love my pool in the backyard. I love my pool. Our master bedroom's great too. It's huge, which is also a total luxury and a blessing that I don't take for granted. So I don't think I have a favorite room. I like most of them.
Yeah. You just love your house.
I do. I love my house. I'm a total homebody through and through.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I love my.
Yeah, that's so good.
I would never leave. Like if I didn't have to come to work, I would just stay in my house forever because I love it.
I know, me too. Not everybody gets that though. It's so funny, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do your neighbors know that you're a blogger? Do they think that's weird?
I think some of them know. Our one side definitely does. We spend a lot of time with them. Our porches are sort of near each other with a little space in the middle. So during COVID, they were pretty much the only people we saw. We'd sit outside and have coffee or wine or whatever on our own respective porches, but still to talk to people. So they definitely know. I'm not sure all of them do. There's some new people in the neighborhood too that we haven't met yet, directly across the street, and some other. I don't think they think it's weird. I'm not sure they 100% understand it.
Yeah.
Anybody really. Yeah. It's the same with most people, right? They're not 100% sure how it works, which is okay. Some of them know, some of them don't.
Yeah.
Pretty sure they get a little weirded out when I do, my seasonal front porch photos, and I'm standing there going like this around my front door and to a tripod on my front patio. But well,
Well, welcome to the digital world, right?
Right? Exactly. Yeah.
So what about, yeah, in the digital world of decorating, who would you say is your favorite decorator or your favorite blogger? Who do
Um,
you?
for that sort of thing, truthfully, as much as I don't love the algorithms, I follow several on Instagram that I love. I already mentioned Bonnie Ryan of the Ryan House. I actually wrote them down so I wouldn't forget. Jen's Gathering Nest, Making High View Home, The Hillary Style, Samantha Jane Design Co., Megan Alexander Home, Halfway Holistic, Brooke Morales Home. So they have even the same style that I like, probably even a little more dressed up and sophisticated than I have, but quite frankly, I still have kids at home. So, yeah, those are ones I love. Their homes are beautiful. They're very inspiring. Yeah.
Is there one you would like to meet? Like for me, I would love to meet Joanna Gaines because she's accomplished so much. She's built an empire and she's humble and she's a mom. She got 5 kids. Like I just have so much respect for what she's done, and she stayed true to herself. So is there anyone like that you would like to
meet?
I
would love to meet her and ask her how they do all of that. I mean, the magazine and the silos and TV Everything. And all of it. Yeah, I have long admired them. I haven't looked at her style lately, so I'm not sure how much it's changed. But yeah, like as far as a business entrepreneur woman goes, I love that. I love I would love to meet her too, for sure. Yeah.
All right. Would you say, what's your biggest passion? Is it decorating? Is it business? Is it entrepreneurship? Is it motherhood? Like, what?
In different seasons, different things. When the kids, I'm a very strange type of creative. I'm a little bit type A and organized, and very specific about things, but in each season, it's been something different. I have throughout it all, though, I've always loved decorating and design. I've always loved organizing. I've always loved entrepreneurship, but in each season, it seems like the focus is a little bit different, just depending on, what has to be done. For example, writing a book, you need to focus for a while on one topic. When the kids were little, it was most definitely motherhood. When they started homeschooling and we decided homeschool, it was homeschooling, even though I had, other things in business on the side still too, partially for my sanity. It's different in each season, I think.
Yeah. Well, because you're growing, changing as a person, right?
Yeah. So, but I think the other thing throughout it all is I love teaching and encouraging specifically other women to make their homes all that they can make them, to love on their families in the best way that they can. And that's a huge one too. Yeah.
I get that. I feel that way too.
That's awesome. That's so awesome.
So what about, do you have a favorite place in the world, or a place that you haven't been to yet, but a place that you want to go to?
I love home. We already covered that. Yes. I love home. A couple of my favorite familiar places. I love Algonquin Park. I love Niagara Falls. I mean, those are fairly close to home, within a few hours. I mean, if we had the opportunity to go for a quick getaway, I would choose Niagara Falls. I grew up going there almost every year with my family, and then my parents actually moved there for a while. So it's a very nostalgic place for me. I love it. My husband actually got away for one night in the spring and went there, and it was amazing. It was like the perfect weather and it was beautiful. And anyway, another place I really, really love, I actually love, oddly enough, California. I've been to Carmel by the Sea, and I think Sonoma Valley, one of the valleys. Anyway, one of the wine valleys. Back when I worked with Michaels, we did a couple blogger trips there, and it's beautiful. Oh my gosh, it's gorgeous. So I don't know. Other than that, I am not a huge traveler. I don't love flying. So it's hard for me to want to go somewhere else.
Oh my God.
How about you?
Well, actually, I fell in love. This was just back in June. I went on a business trip to a conference, and it
Okay.
was in Phoenix,
Okay.
Arizona.
Okay.
And I brought my son with me because it was about online marketing, and they wanted you to bring your teenagers so they could learn how to
Okay, cool.
become an entrepreneur.
That's
So
awesome.
that was really awesome. And so the last day I booked an extra day because I said, we're in Phoenix, we're near the Grand Canyon. We should go see that because we've never seen that in our life.
Yeah.
And we should go to Red Rock.
Okay.
So we booked a tour. So we had to be picked up at 7 a.m. and we went to Sedona to Red Rock, and it filled my heart. I started crying. It was like the most beautiful thing I've seen
That's
my whole life. I was
awesome.
standing there and tears were dripping, and I didn't know what I was feeling, but I mean,
That's so awesome.
It's so beautiful. It's so incredible. It's like a different world.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that was awesome. So I'd say that's my favorite place in the world. And then after that, going to the Grand Canyon. It's like you've come to the end of the world. It's like there's forest and trees, and then you walk out and it's this enormous canyon that never ends. So as far as you can see, and it's huge, and you can't touch it, right? It's it's like it's a painting or something. It plays tricks on your mind. It's so huge, and it's so beautiful too.
That's awesome.
You know, you see the Colorado River flowing through it way far away, and it looks so small, but it's like huge. It tricks your mind. And when I was there, I was saying to my son, imagine the natives who lived here and they came on their horses through the forest and they saw this, like, what would they think?
Right. Gosh, it's true.
Yeah. They wouldn't know, right? Because we figured everything out and why it's there and how it happened and all that. But imagine if you just came
have no context.
Like, this is the end. We can't go any further.
Right. Gosh, it's true. It's true.
Yeah. So I love the Grand Canyon, and we're going to go back there next year because they do that conference once a year. So
that's cool.
That's cool.
I've never heard of that one. That's cool.
Yeah. And so I was last weekend, I was in Florida, Panama City Beach for a mastermind. Okay. And that's quite beautiful. They rented a beach house, so right on the beach, and we had the mastermind in there looking at the ocean and the waves, and that was gorgeous, but not as good as Sedona. And on Monday, I'm going to another conference, and this one is in Orlando.
Okay.
So, I'm busy.
So you don't mind flying, clearly.
No, it's okay. Well, I used to live in Belgium. My husband is from Belgium.
Okay.
And so I used to do flying Belgium to Canada, these long flights so many times. So flying to Florida, it's just a couple hours compared to, 8 hours.
Yeah.
So just for me, it goes by in a flash. And I have books on my iPad. I just read a book and it's okay.
That's all right. My ears get so plugged, and then I can't hear for like hours and hours after. And so my balance gets all off. I do not like it, but oh well.
I've had that once a long time ago. A flight from San Francisco to Detroit, and that one, like, it really affected my ears, and it was actually painful. Mm-hmm. So I mean
every time. Even just to I've flown just to Atlanta and back, and that's like an hour and a half, I think, maybe. Same thing. It was like the next day before I could hear again, and so I'm like, I don't like flying. I'll drive places.
Well, I've heard a trick is to chew gum.
I have tried all the tricks.
Everything.
I have taken Gravol, Tylenol, kept my earbuds in, chewed gum, like all the things.
Okay, you're just not meant to fly.
No. That's okay. It is what it is. It's a good thing I like home. It's,
Yeah, that's good. Otherwise you feel trapped.
It's true, right? Yeah.
Right. Wow. Yeah. So I've only got a couple of minutes left to chat with you. So I know because I got an early copy. I don't know how to say that, of your new book, The Clutter Fix. So I've been reading your book in advance. I was one of the lucky ones, and it just came live 2 days ago, right?
Yeah.
Let me see. I think I had it on my screen. Let me see if I can show it. Let me see. Okay. I'm sharing my screen. Okay, so let me pull it up. Nope, not that. Sorry, I'm not that organized.
That is okay.
There it is.
There you
Yeah,
go.
so it's Clutter Fix. You can get it
Yep.
on Amazon, and
Yep.
it's all about organizing your home. And there's your bench in your front hall, right?
Yep. Actually, it's in this picture, it's in my dining room, but normally it lives in my front hall. Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, I like the book. I don't have big clutter. I have little clutters. Like
Okay.
I get clutter in my car in the back seat, or I get clutter in my bag, where like my briefcase bag, and I get clutter around the I've got a desktop computer here, and I've got junk around it. But other than that, I'm not too bad. But
that's good.
This is good to help people who have more of a problem than I do. So tell us a little bit about the Clutter Fix.
Well, pretty much my publishers and I are pretty much calling it the only book you'll ever need to help with your clutter, because it talks about everything. It talks about the emotional, spiritual, psychological parts of it and why you collect clutter.
Yeah, it's so important that people realize that, because people don't
you can't
know
stop
that.
it otherwise.
Yeah. No, go ahead.
But then it's also very, very practical, because there's lots of cheat sheets and checklists and step-by-step for how to declutter like every space. And then super important, the last section of the book is about maintenance, what I call maintenance mode, which is creating the routines and habits that you need to keep your home clutter free, so that your household works for you instead of against you. So yeah, it's got everything in one handy little book. It's not even huge. It's so yeah.
No, it's the perfect way. Oops. Okay. I don't know what happened there. But,
you're all right.
It's the perfect way to solve your problem. It's like it covers all areas and it really helps you. And you know what happened? I wrote a review on Amazon, and then I got an email this morning that they rejected my review.
Why?
Yeah, and they said they put a list of a bunch of rules that things you're not allowed to do, and one was obscene language. Well, I didn't say that.
Oh gosh.
In my first line, I think I said, you need to get this book. So maybe that's wrong. Maybe I'm not allowed to say that.
That's weird.
Yeah, I'll send you what the book is, just so you can look at it, because it's weird. And then there was an option to submit again, and I tried that, and it said, you're not allowed. We reject you. So
that's weird. So check with maybe check with Caitlin in the group, in the book launch group, because she knows way more about that stuff than I do. That's why she's been sort of helping with that group so much. Maybe check with her and ask her and say, hey, this is what I submitted. Any ideas why they're flagging it? Because that's ridiculous.
Because I think I was the first one to write the review on Amazon, because when I went, there was nothing. I was the first one.
Right. Weird. That's weird.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Well,
anyway, that's okay. I'll fix it.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry for you, because I want you to get there.
I wonder if anyone else is having that issue too. Weird.
Yeah. We'll ask Caitlin.
Yeah.
So anyways, I want to thank you so much for your time. I really enjoyed this. I enjoyed getting to know you better. And, I've been following you, I guess, since probably 2018 or so.
Okay.
Sometimes more concentrated than not, just depending on life and what I'm looking at and what I'm doing. But it was so nice to meet you, and hopefully one day we can meet in person. One day you'll have to come up to the store. And
yes, I would love that.
You said your mom lives in Stratford. That's not too far. So maybe one day you can take a detour.
That would be nice. Yeah. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. And it was a lot of fun chatting with you.
Yeah, me too. So and good luck with your book. I hope you're really successful. The one before was, so this one will be too. And this one is really useful. I mean, the other book is nice and good too, but Clutter Fix, this solves some people's problems, right? Yeah. So, that's awesome that you did that, because I think it's going to help a lot the
I hope so.
We have to make those people know about you. That's the only thing. Right? Find the cluttery people.
That's right.
Okay, well, I have to go because I've got another call.
Absolutely.
And thank you so much. And I will be in touch with you.
Thank
So
you.
thank you, Shannon. Okay,
Okay.
bye-bye.
Bye.